You spent 30 bucks on a bug zapper last summer, remember? The blue light, the satisfying crackle every time something flew into it. You felt like you were winning. You weren't. Studies show bug zappers kill thousands of insects per night, and less than 1% of them are mosquitoes. The rest are moths, beetles, fireflies, the things you actually want around. The mosquitoes? They ignored it. They flew right past that glowing purple death trap, landed on your arm, and bit you anyway, because a bug zapper attracts insects with light. Mosquitoes don't hunt by light, they hunt by smell. Specifically, they hunt by one smell: carbon dioxide, the gas you exhale with every single breath. You breathe out, a tiny invisible plume of CO2 drifts off your skin, and to a mosquito 50 feet away, that plume is a highway, a neon sign, a dinner bell. She follows it, she lands, she bites. Now here's the thing. The DEEEE spray in your medicine cabinet, it works. Nobody's arguing that. But it wears off in 2 hours. The citronella candle on your patio table, it helps a little if there's no wind, but it burns down in 4 hours and costs 8 bucks. The yard spray service, $400 to $800 a season, and they're back next month because the chemicals wash away with the first good rain. Every single product on the market fights mosquitoes the same way. Temporary, expensive, repeat. The Amish don't buy any of it. No DEET, no zappers, no citronella candles, no yard spray service. And if you drive past an Amish homestead at 7 o'clock on a July evening, you'll see something that might stop you cold. The family sitting on the porch, eating supper. No screens, no swatting, no slapping their ankles, just sitting there in the open air at dusk during peak mosquito hour. How? 10 plants growing in the ground, along the porch, around the doorways, bordering the garden. Not decorations, weapons. Each one loaded with a different chemical compound that does something no spray, no candle, and no zapper can do. These plants don't just repel mosquitoes, they jam mosquito radar. They scramble the CO2 signal that tells a mosquito exactly where your skin is. The mosquito can smell that you exist, she just can't find you. One of these plants is 10 times more effective than DEET. Remember that number, we'll get there. Another one you can throw on a fire and clear mosquitoes for 30 feet in every direction. A third one you've been cooking with your whole life and never knew it was a weapon. Total cost for all 10, somewhere between $25 and $40. One trip to the nursery. Most of them are perennials. They come back every year, they spread. Year 2 is better than year 1. Year 5 is better than year 2. That's the forever in the title. And it's not clickbait, it's botany. But the first plant on this list is not what you think it is. And the version they've been selling you at the garden center is probably a fake. Here's how a mosquito hunts. And once you understand this, every single plant on this list will make perfect sense. A female mosquito, and it's always the female, needs blood to develop her eggs. Males don't bite, they drink nectar. She's the hunter. And her primary weapon isn't her eyes, it isn't her ears, it's her antenna. Covered in receptors so sensitive they can detect a single molecule of carbon dioxide from over 100 feet away. You breathe. CO2 leaves your lungs, passes over your lips, floats outward in an invisible plume. That plume drifts, thins, bends with the air, but it doesn't disappear. It lingers, and a mosquito locks onto it the way a bloodhound locks onto a scent trail. She follows the concentration gradient. Where the CO2 gets thicker, she knows she's getting closer. She adjusts, tacks left, tacks right, hones in, lands, bites. Now here's where the plants come in. When a lavender bush releases linalool into the air, or a lemon balm plant sweats citronellol off its leaves, or catnip pushes nepentolactone from its stems, those volatile compounds don't create a wall. They don't mask your CO2. They do something sneakier. They flood the air around you with chemical noise. Think of it like this. You're in a quiet room and somebody whispers your name. You hear it clearly. You turn toward it. Now put yourself in a stadium. 50,000 people screaming. Somebody whispers your name from 15 rows back. You don't hear it. It's still there, but it's buried. That's what these plants do to a mosquito. Your CO2 is still there, but the mosquito's antenna are getting hit with so many competing signals that she can't sort your breath from the chemical storm. She circles, she stalls, she leaves, she goes somewhere easier. The Amish don't know the word nepentolactone. They don't need to. 150 years of putting catnip by the door and noticing fewer bites did the same job as any lab study. The difference is the lab can tell you exactly why it works. And the number it produced? 10 times more effective than DEET at repelling mosquitoes. That's not folk wisdom. That's Iowa State University. Published research. So let's get into the plants, starting with the heaviest hitters and starting with a warning because plant number one has a counterfeit that's been sold to millions of Americans under a name it doesn't deserve. Walk into any garden center in America between April and June, you'll see pots labeled citronella plant. They look like a bushy geranium. They smell lemony. The tag says natural mosquito repellent. It's a scented geranium. Pelargonium citrosum. It smells nice. That's about it. Studies show minimal repellent effect. It's a marketing gimmick, and people buy it every single year thinking they're getting protection. Real citronella grass is Cymbopogon nardus. It's tall, clumping, 3 to 6 feet high, looks like lemongrass because it is a close relative of lemongrass, and it releases citronellol and geraniol continuously from its leaf surfaces, not just when you crush it. Continuously, all day, all night, just sitting there, sweating out compounds that make a mosquito's antenna go haywire. The catch? It's a tropical plant, perennial in zones 9 through 11. If you live in Ohio or Michigan or Pennsylvania, you grow it in a big pot, keep it on the porch from May through September, and bring it inside before frost. Amish communities in the South grow it right in the ground by the porch steps. Northern communities keep it potted. Either way, it goes within 3 to 4 feet of wherever you sit. Not across the yard, not by the mailbox, close. Plant number two, catnip, Nepeta cataria. This is the one I told you to remember, the one that beat DEET by a factor of 10. Iowa State University researchers isolated the active compound, nepentolactone, and tested it head-to-head against DEET in controlled conditions. Nepentolactone won, not by a little, by a factor of 10. And you can grow this plant from a $2 seed packet in just about any soil, any light condition, zones 3 through 9. That covers most of the continental United States. There's one catch. If you have outdoor cats or if your neighbor has outdoor cats, they will find it, they will roll in it, they will crush it flat, they will love it to death. The barn cats at Amish homesteads plant themselves in the catnip patch like it's a five-star spa. But here's the upside. A cat rolling around in catnip releases more of the volatile oils into the air. The cats are basically doing your pest control work for you and purring while they do it. Place catnip near doorways, under windows, along the walkway between the house and the car. Every Amish barn has it by the door. The barn cats are happy. The mosquitoes aren't. Those are the two with the most raw chemical firepower. But what about the plant that does 5 jobs at once and looks beautiful doing all of them? Citronella and catnip are specialists. One job, done hard. Lavender is the opposite. Lavender is the Amish multi-tool. Lavandula? Full sun, well-drained soil, doesn't want much water once it's established. Perennial in zones 5 through 9, which covers most of the country. The active compound is linalool, and mosquitoes hate it the way some people hate the sound of styrofoam on styrofoam. They just won't go near it. But here's why the Amish grow lavender along every fence line and porch border they can manage. It repels mosquitoes, it attracts honeybees and native pollinators. Dried, the flowers go into sachets in the linen closet. The oil goes into homemade soap. It looks beautiful from June through August, and it comes back every single year without you doing a thing. 5 jobs, one plant, no complaints, planted along the fence, flanking the porch steps, bordering the patio. Anywhere you want a living wall of mosquitoes, go somewhere else. Plant 4, lemon balm, Melissa officinalis. This one is sneaky because it contains the same active compound as citronella grass, citronellol, but it grows like a weed in zones 3 through 7. It will spread fast, almost invasively fast. The Amish consider that a feature, not a problem. More plants, more compound, more coverage. Crush a lemon balm leaf between your thumb and finger, that bright, sharp lemon scent that floods your nose. That's citronella blasting off the broken leaf surface. A breeze does the same thing on a smaller scale. Foot traffic near the plant does it too. Every time something brushes lemon balm, it releases another wave. Grow it in pots near your seating area if you want to control the spread, or let it run wild along a bed where coverage matters more than tidiness. And when you're done repelling mosquitoes for the evening, pick a handful of leaves and steep them in hot water. Lemon balm tea. The Amish grow it for tea first and mosquito control second. The mosquito control just comes free. Plant 5, basil, Ocimum basilicum. You've had it on your windowsill, you've torn it over pasta, you've never thought of it as a weapon. Basil releases estragole and linalool, the same compound that makes lavender effective. The difference is basil is an annual, you replant it every year or you let it flower, set seed, and self-sow. It's most effective when the leaves are lightly bruised or rustled by wind, so putting it in a spot where people walk past and brush against it is ideal. On the porch, railing in pots, next to the kitchen door where you catch it with your elbow going in and out, and in the vegetable garden at the end of every tomato row, because basil repels tomato hornworms too. Every Amish kitchen garden has basil at the edges of the tomatoes. It protects the crop and protects the gardener. 2 jobs, one plant, $2 worth of seed. You know what most people get wrong, though? They plant all of these near the porch and forget the rest of the yard. The garden border, the walkway, the bed under the window you crack open on hot nights. You need plants that do the repelling work quietly in the background without much fuss. The next 3 are exactly that. They look ordinary, they smell familiar, and they might be the most effective layer of defense in your whole yard. The answer starts with something you've probably walked past 1,000 times and dismissed as decoration. Marigolds, tagates, those orange and yellow flowers your grandmother planted along every sidewalk and garden border she owned. She wasn't decorating, she was defending. Marigold foliage contains pyrethrum, a compound so effective at killing insects that the commercial pesticide industry synthesized a version of it. Pyrethrin sprays, the ones you buy at the hardware store for your garden, are based on the chemistry that comes from this flower. and the living plant releases it from its foliage, not just the blooms, around the clock. Marigolds are annuals, cheap, easy from seed. A packet costs $1.50 and gives you 50 plants. Line the entire border of your vegetable garden, run them along walkways, plant them under every window that opens in summer. They repel mosquitoes, aphids, whiteflies, and half the pests that attack tomato plants. The Amish treat marigolds the way an army treats a perimeter fence. Nothing they don't want gets past the marigold line. Plant 7. Rosemary, Rosmarinus officinalis. Woody perennial in zones 7 through 10, annual or potted farther north. Releases camphor and 1/8 cineole from its needle-like leaves. On its own, sitting in a pot near the grill, it's a solid deterrent. But this one has a party trick. Throw a fresh rosemary branch on a fire pit, a campfire, a charcoal grill after you're done cooking. The smoke carries those volatile compounds 30 feet in every direction. You know that moment at a summer cookout when everyone drags their chairs closer to the fire because the mosquitoes are worse 10 feet out? That's the rosemary smoke doing its job. The Amish do this at every outdoor gathering, every cookout, every evening bonfire. One branch, 30 feet of coverage, zero cost. Plant 8, peppermint, Mentha piperita. And I need to give you a warning before you go near this one. Peppermint will take over your yard. It spreads by underground runners. It is aggressive. It is relentless. It does not respect your garden plan. Always pot it. Always. Grow it in containers by every exterior door of the house. The menthol it releases disrupts mosquito olfaction through a different chemical pathway than the other plants on this list, which means it stacks. Lavender scrambles one set of receptors, peppermint scrambles another. Together, they hit the mosquito with two kinds of interference at once. The Amish keep peppermint in a pot by every door. They don't explain why, they just do it. And nobody gets bitten walking in or out. But there are two more plants on this list, and one of them does something none of the others can do. It brings in the insects you want while keeping out the ones you don't. That's not just pest control. That's ecosystem design. Bee balm, Monarda, a native North American wildflower that's been growing on this continent since long before anybody planted it on purpose. It contains thymol, a natural insecticide strong enough that commercial mouthwash uses a synthetic version of it. Perennial in zones 3 through 9, comes back every year, gets 2 to 4 feet tall, blooms in these wild, spiky purple and red clusters that hummingbirds lose their minds over. Here's what makes bee balm different from every other plant on this list. It doesn't just push mosquitoes away. It actively recruits the pollinators your garden needs to produce food. Bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, they swarm bee balm like it's the only restaurant in town. Mosquitoes, avoid it. It's a bouncer and a host at the same time, planted along garden borders, in pollinator beds near but not on the porch. You want the bees visiting the bee balm, not investigating your lemonade. The Amish value bee balm for the pollinators first. Their crops depend on pollination. That it keeps mosquitoes away from the garden while attracting the bees is a bonus they never take for granted. The flowers are edible too. They go in salads, in teas, in homemade vinegars. One plant, 4 jobs, 0 complaints, plant 10. And this one might surprise you because it's already in your kitchen. Alliums, garlic, chives, onions. The entire allium family produces allicin, a sulfur compound that repels mosquitoes through root exudates and leaf oils. It doesn't just push mosquitoes away from the foliage above the soil, it pushes them away from the ground itself. An allium bed radiates repellent effect from underground up. Chives are perennial in zones 3 through 9. Garlic overwinters in the ground and comes back in spring. Onions are annuals but reseed easily. And they're already in most kitchen gardens because you eat them. Every Amish kitchen garden has garlic, chives, and onions scattered throughout, not bunched in one corner, but interspersed between beds, tucked along borders, planted at the ends of rows. If you watched our garlic video, you already have garlic in the ground. It's been repelling mosquitoes this whole time. You just didn't know it. 10 plants, 10 compounds. But a list is just a list. What turns 10 plants into an actual mosquito defense system isn't what you grow, it's where you put them. And that's the part the Amish figured out a long time ago. Walk around an Amish homestead and you won't see these plants scattered at random. You'll see them arranged in a pattern. Not labeled, not drawn on paper, but if you sketched it from above, you'd see it immediately. Concentric rings of chemical defense, tightest where the family gathers, widest where the garden meets open field. The inner ring, within 3 to 6 feet of wherever people sit, this is where your heaviest hitters go. Citronella grass in a big pot right next to the bench or chair, catnip along the porch railing, lavender flanking the steps, basil in pots on the table itself. This ring does the hardest work. The compounds are densest here, the coverage is strongest. If you only plant one ring, plant this one. The middle ring, 6 to 15 feet out, this is your buffer zone. Lemon balm in beds along the walkway from the driveway to the front door, marigolds lining the nearest garden beds. Peppermint in pots under every window that opens during summer. This ring intercepts mosquitoes that are homing in on the porch from the yard. They hit the buffer, the CO2 signal, scrambles, and most of them peel off before they ever reach you. The outer ring, 15 to 30 feet. Rosemary near the fire pit and grill area. Bee balm in the pollinator beds at the garden edge. Alliums scattered through the vegetable rows. This ring provides background suppression across the wider property. It won't stop every mosquito, but it thins the swarm before they ever get close to the inner ring. 3 rings, 10 plants, and here's the part most people miss. The Amish didn't design this on graph paper. They did it with 150 years of putting a plant here and noticing fewer bites, moving a plant there and getting chewed up again. What you can plant in a single Saturday afternoon is a system that took generations to refine through pure trial and error. The total for all 10 plants, every compound, every ring, under $40. But the comparison to what you're spending right now is the part that might make you angry. Here's the breakdown. Citronella grass, one established pot from the nursery, $8 to $12. Catnip seed packet, $2. Lavender, start from the garden center, $5 to $7. Lemon balm seed or small start, $2 to $4. Basil seed packet, $2. Marigold seed packet, $1.50. Rosemary start, $4 to $6. Peppermint start, $3 to $4. Bee balm seed or start, $3 to $5. Chives or garlic starts, $2 to $3. Added up, $25 to $40. One trip, one afternoon of digging. Now stack that against what Americans spend every single summer fighting mosquitoes with products. Citronella candles, $8 each, burn down in 4 hours. Buy 10 across the summer, and you've dropped $80 on scented wax. DEET spray, $7 a bottle, gone in a month. 2 bottles minimum per summer, more if you've got kids. Bug zapper, $30 plus electricity, and we already covered what it actually kills. Professional yard spray service, $400 to $800 a season, and they're back every 4 to 6 weeks because rain washes the chemical away before the next crew shows up. $40 once or $400 every year for the rest of your life. The Amish spent the 40. Stay with me for one more minute because I need to be straight with you. These 10 plants will not turn your yard into a mosquito-free fortress. There is no such thing as a mosquito-free zone in July in the eastern United States. What they will do is create pockets of dramatically reduced mosquito activity around the specific areas where you spend your time. You won't swat 0 mosquitoes this summer, but you'll go from 50 bites a night to 5. And 5 is the difference between going inside and staying outside. One more thing, and this one is non-negotiable. No plant in the world will save you if you have standing water within 50 feet of your house. A single forgotten bucket of stagnant water can breed 1,000 mosquitoes in a week. Before you plant a single thing, walk your property, empty the bird bath every 3 days, dump the saucers under your flower pots, flip the wheelbarrow upside down, drain the clogged gutter, kill the nursery before you build the defense. Plants repel the adults. Standing water breeds the army. You have to handle both. The Amish have been doing exactly this since before your grandparents were born. Same plants, same porch, same supper at dusk with the evening light going gold over the fields, and it costs them nothing now. Because every one of those plants came back this spring on its own. Remember the start of this video? You spent $30 on a bug zapper, $8 on a citronella candle that lasted one evening. You sprayed DEET on your arms and your kids' arms and tried not to think too hard about what was soaking into the skin, and the mosquitoes still won. Now you know what the Amish know. Not because they read a study, not because they bought a product, because they planted 10 things in the dirt a long time ago and paid attention to what happened. Citronella grass, catnip, lavender, lemon balm, basil, marigolds, rosemary, peppermint, bee balm, and the garlic that's been sitting in your garden doing double duty this whole time. 10 plants, 3 rings, one system that gets stronger every year instead of weaker. The lavender by the Amish porch wasn't planted this spring. It was planted by someone who doesn't live in that house anymore. It's still working. It'll work after they're gone too. That's what forever means, not a slogan, a perennial. Out of everything we covered today, the thing that keeps coming back to me is how simple the whole system is. We turned mosquito control into an industry. We made it chemical. We made it expensive. We made it something you rebuy every May. The Amish made it botanical. They planted things that do 5 jobs, and one of those jobs happens to be making their porch livable at sunset. No electricity, no refills, no subscription service, just roots in the ground and compounds in the air, doing the same quiet work they did last summer and the summer before that. Which of these 10 plants are you putting in first? Drop it in the comments. If you've already got some of these growing and never realized they were repelling mosquitoes, tell us that story too. And if your grandmother had her own trick, a plant we didn't cover, something she swore worked, we want to hear it. Those are the details that don't make it into textbooks. If this one hit you the way it hit us, hit that like button. And if you know somebody who spends every summer losing the mosquito war, send them this video. $40 and a Saturday afternoon could change their whole season. 73% of people watching right now aren't subscribed. That means YouTube won't show you the next one. Hit subscribe. It's free. Takes 1 second. Next week, we're going deeper into something the Amish grow that most Americans forgot was even edible. You don't want to miss that one.